So what is going on, everybody? Fernando Silva here with another video, and ESR Gear was kind enough to send over their entire lineup of iPad Air 5 cases, or the M1 iPad Air, whichever you guys want to call it. And I wanted to do a little review because these cases, A, they're very budget friendly, B, they do a lot of protection, and with all the different variations, there's probably one perfect for you, whether you want a simple, just like a regular TPU case, or you want the whole shebang, you want it to be magnetic, you want it to have a folio case, you want it to be able to hold your pencil, and things like that. So without further ado, let's jump into these cases. I'm going to show you guys my favorite one to begin with, and stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can actually win one of these at the end. So stay tuned, but let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the case that I think is my favorite one so far, and that has to be the classic magnetic case by ESR. So this is a classic folio magnetic case. Apple's been making these for forever, since the original iPad came out, but ESR has their own little take on it, and it's a lot cheaper than whatever Apple sells you. So from a build quality standpoint, you're dealing with that same kind of rubbery matte finish. You know, it does attract a decent amount of fingerprints, but it's very scratch resistant, which is nice. And the way that this iPad attaches, and I think this is the reason why I like it the most, is because it's just super simple to slap it on via magnets. You know, there's no case that you have to kind of like put it into before. You know, yes, it leaves your sides and your corners exposed and things like that, but I just like that look and that feel a little bit better. And the ease of use of being able to remove the iPad Air and put it, let's say, on a Magic Keyboard or a folio case or any other case that I want to, and then when I need to, I just slap it back on here via magnets. So again, this is a very simple one. I have it in the black variant with my blue iPad Air 5, which I think is a great little kind of contrast right here, the black and blue. So overall, really like this case. Like I said, it attaches via magnets. There is no rail protection, only rail protection on the one side where the hinge is, but you do have your Touch ID button exposed. You have your Apple Pencil storage right there, so the Apple Pencil still connects on the actual iPad itself. And then you still have access to your volume rocker and then your chargers and your speakers. Again, for some people, they want the protection around, so this might not be for them, but for me, from a minimalistic and simplistic standpoint, this has been my favorite one so far. And then one of my favorite parts about it is that it does have that magnetic little flap, so you can tuck your Apple Pencil right underneath, and you can still throw it in your bag without having to fear that you're going to lose your Apple Pencil. So this next one by ESR is a classic little TPU, like plastic case that you could get for anything, whether it's your iPhone, your iPad, but for this one, it's made for that M1 iPad Air. And like I said, it's very classic. It's just a classic plastic and malleable case, so it does move a little bit. It is very, very thin. I think it's only 1.8 millimeters in thickness, and it does give you nice rail protection. So the one I have is in the clear variant, so it still gives you that nice color transparency of that blue, which I absolutely love. So having that on the iPad Air as just overall protection is actually great. So if you guys do want a very cheap and quality case, this was only $11 on Amazon, guys. $11 for an iPad case that's probably going to last you for the longevity of you owning that iPad Air 5. So having that on there to always protect your corners, protect the sides, and protect the back is awesome. So that is the TPU case, very self-explanatory. It does have nice precise cutouts for the speakers, for the charger, for the camera, so everything fits how it's supposed to. But that one again is the cheapest one and probably the most classic variant of a case for the iPad Air 5. The next case we're going to talk about is the ESR pencil case, they're calling it. So it's very similar to my favorite one, which is based on magnets. This one is still a folio case, so it still has the folio cover that does have the smart lock and the auto lock and things like that. But this one is different from the magnetic because A, it does cover up the entire iPad, all the railings. You do have to put it into the case itself, which again, to each their own. For me personally, I like having just to be able to slap the magnetic back and I'm good to go. This one, you do have to kind of put it in there, and then to pry it out, you do have to kind of bend it out, but it's not as hard as I'm making it out to seem. It's just, I prefer to just be able to pull it off whenever I want to. So this one is for somebody that wants to keep it in there for an extended period of time and probably isn't swapping out too many things, but it works the same way as the previous folio, right? So it still has that trifold on the front, it still acts as a stand, but the reason this is called the pencil case is because there's an extra little lip that allows you to put the pencil in there and make sure that it stays in there nice and tidy, and it still charges via the magnets on the iPad Air when it's stowed away. So having that on there, again, protection for that Apple Pencil, protection for the side rails of that iPad Air to make sure that you guys stay protected at all times, and it still has, like I said, that trifold folio experience that we're also used to now with the iPads, you know, since, I think literally since the first iPad when Apple had that cool magnetic one, that was this little magnetic kind of hinge with that trifold on the iPad screen. But that is the ESR pencil case for the M1 iPad Air, and I do want to reiterate that these work with the iPad Air 4, the iPad Air 5, and then also the 2018 11-inch iPad Pro, because think about it, it is the same exact footprint and the same camera module. It's not until you get to the 11-inch iPad Pro from 2020 and 2021 when it's not going to work there, but ESR does have those same cases compatible with the later versions of the iPad Pro. And now to round things off, if you guys made it to this last one, this is probably the best one that they have in terms of overall functionality, protection, like slim, aesthetic, everything that you would want probably in a just dedicated case that doesn't have a keyboard is in this ESR case. So this one's called a hybrid ESR case, and what makes it a hybrid case is because it has multiple functions. That's what makes a product a hybrid product, because it can do multiple things at once. So the first thing is that it has a built-in case very similar to that TPU case. So it acts as a standalone case that protects the back and the side rails. That same idea of having to put it inside of the case is there. So that is a standalone case that you can use, again, as a standalone case. But what makes this a $40 case is that it comes with that, but then also it adopts that mindset of the magnetic folio case that I personally like the most, right? So it has that added protection. You can remove it whenever you want, but then you can also slap it with magnets on the actual folio case. So it acts kind of as a combo of my favorite one, which is the magnetic case, and also the pencil case that ESR has. So combining those two into one product, I think is a masterpiece, and for $40, it's really hard to compete. Like $40 at the Apple Store doesn't get you anything, I don't think. So having this option at $40 I think is amazing, and they do tout this as being able to have like multiple views. You're still able to use kind of that folio stand, but then turn your iPad into a portrait mode and still use it as a stand as you're working. So I love that it's multi-purpose, multi-use. It has protection on the rails, it has protection for the pencil, it has protection for the front and the back of the iPad. For me, it's just a tad bit bulky, but I know a lot of people are gonna like this one. Like, this is something that my dad would use all the time. Like, a lot of people that wanna throw it into their bag and things like that. I just personally like to keep my things as slim as possible, and the regular magnetic case does that for me. But overall, all these cases are great. They're made out of great quality, they're fairly priced, and they're gonna last you a very, very long time. But those are all the cases that ESR sent over. I just wanted to show them to you because they're great budget alternatives to whatever Apple has. And again, like I said, they're very quality for the price. And when you buy yourself an iPad especially, you want to make sure that thing's protected because A, it is a very thin device, so it can bend, it can, like if you have it stuffed into a backpack with a lot of stuff in there, I've seen it kind of warp a little bit and things like that. And people are saying that the iPad Air 5 is a little bit on the slimmer side in terms of build quality. I haven't noticed anything yet, and stay tuned for a long-term review of the iPad Air, the M1 iPad Air, because we're working on that right now. But again, ESR has you fully protected for the right price. And I'm gonna link all the different products down in the description below for you guys to check out. But let's finish out this video and get out of here. So that's gonna do it for this video, everybody. Like you guys saw, ESR provides a bunch of different types of cases for your iPad Air, or for any iPad for that matter. And the one thing that I do want to mention about all these cases is that yes, they're made for the iPad Air 5, the new M1 iPad Air, but it's still going to work with your iPad Air 4, so the previous generation, and it'll work with the 11-inch 2018 iPad Pro because the footprint is exactly the same and the camera bump is the same. It's not until you get to the 2020 and the 2021 iPad Pros on the 11-inch variant that the little camera bump won't fit in, but ESR does make those cases for that specific iPad Pro as well. It's roughly the same price. And like I mentioned, if you guys do want to win one of these, leave a comment down below, because if this video gets 250 likes, I'm going to reach out to somebody in the comments down below and send one of these away. So this will work, like I said, with the iPad Air 4, iPad Air 5, and the 2018 11-inch iPad Pro. But that's going to do it for this video, everybody. Leave a little dolphin right here or in the comments down below to make sure I know that you guys made it to the end of the video. Like I said, leave a like, leave a comment to win one of these ESR cases, and if you guys want to find out a little bit more about iPads, click on one of these videos right here.